And we're back. Breaking news. How's your Monday been going? Hopefully, not as eventful as what's been taking place here in the past couple hours across the ESPN airwaves and across the NBA airwaves as well. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us right here for some breaking news. JSJ is here. Thanks so much again for joining us. Truly appreciate it. Everyone out there, going to go ahead and see if anybody is out there for quote, whether it's Legend or Joe. We'll see if we can go ahead and get any of those guys to stop on by here. Putting out the feelers on that breaking news indeed. But if not, we got you here because first off, I'll go ahead with the Lakers related news. The one that we know for sure, because the one from the Clippers side, the NBA is kind of disputing that fact right now. So we'll leave that up in the air for right now. So we'll go ahead and talk about the Lakers news. Shams Charania has just reported breaking news that the Buss family has decided to sell their 17.8% share that they have left over, after this sale, the valuation of $10 billion to Mark Walter. They had 17.8% ownership still at stake for the Los Angeles Lakers. They have decided to sell that percentage of ownership to the Iger-Kushner group for whatever undisclosed amount. Nothing as far as been reported on that as far as how much it will be. But again, wanted to mention that, of course, the Buss family obviously emanates back to when Dr. Jerry Buss bought the Lakers back so long ago. Well, that is going to come to an end once the transaction is completed, ratified by the NBA owners and whatnot. It looks like Jeannie and the Buss family is finally jumping ship from the Lakers as they are selling off their 17.8% interest in the Los Angeles Lakers to the Bob Iger, Josh Kushner group as part of this ongoing transaction per Shams Charania. Want to go ahead and read the statement from the Buss family themselves. We have decided as a family, which is the first thing kind of shocking there. They've decided together as a family. Wow. I wonder how that group phone call went. We have decided as a family to sell the remaining Buss family trust shares to the Bob Iger group as part of the ongoing transaction. We love the Lakers fans, and will continue to support Los Angeles, but it is time to use this. Okay. And we will go ahead and that's basically use this opportunity. Okay, there you go. Twitter extended it for me. Use this opportunity. It is time to use this opportunity to move on and exit gracefully while we still can. Oh my God. Oh, it's hilarious. Talk about jumping off the Titanic there, man. While we still can, you could keep it and sell it at a later time and make more money, Buss family. Come on, give me a break here. Give me a break. But if that's the case, with the fact that Jeannie will no longer, well, as soon as again is ratified. And by the way, Legend, I've you can hop on, but still at work. Okay, no worries. I will see about later. I don't know if I'll be available later. I will try to see if I can go ahead and come back for a late night show. We'll see. Or I know your schedule is tight, so let me get back to you on that. If you can't jump on today, Legend, no problem. But getting back to the Lakers with the Buss family, interesting. A, that they all came together on a decision, and B, jumping out while they still can. Huh. That part absolutely just, I know, kind of puts me back a little bit on that one. But again, because they are selling off the 17.8% shares that they have to the Iger-Kushner group, that means once the deal has gone through and has been ratified by the league, that will mean Jeannie Buss can no longer hold the position as governor of the Los Angeles Lakers. So what was Iger saying last week? If things change, they change. And they're certainly changing indeed. Rough Artist is happy. Could this mean the end of the Rob Pelinka era? I know a lot of us have our fingers crossed on this. So now dump Ronnie. Turf Wars. Dr. Bus is rolling in his grave. Guys are great. You guys are so funny. Gregory Brown says, hell, Rob might step down. Gregory said, Lakers need a clean sweep in the front office. Yeah, it's kind of, and I talked about this on the Lakers' latest channel. I don't know if you caught that, but I talked about it. I said it's in a weird state because the retrofit of the front office and the organization as a whole was kind of like still in process under Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group. Hello, BDA Pink. CEO of the Guggenheim Group. You know, when he owned it, he was in a process transitioning into this Dodgers Lakers hybrid, Gregory and everyone out there. So where was it at in the process? It seems like, you know, you have a construction product or your project, or you're building a new home and you got halfway through, 60% through, and you've decided to sell the home to new owners so that they can go ahead and finish the job however they see fit. So it will be interesting who jumps ship, because you heard the buses while they still can. It's such verbiage. Man, interesting indeed. But again, we'll see. We'll find out. But again, breaking news: according to Shams Charania, the Bus family has sold their final 17.8% that they own of the Los Angeles Lakers, and they are jumping ship after decades of ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers. Right there for you. Again, there it is. Want to go ahead and post it right up there for you. Per Shams Charania. We'll get into the Kawhi stuff here in a little bit, because again, it's not 100% determined. And I talk about there might be some jealousy issues and things of that nature. So we'll see what happens with that here in a second. We'll talk about that here on the back half. But I did want to go ahead and mention again your thoughts on this breaking news that the Bus family will no longer be a part of an ownership group in the Los Angeles Lakers. They no longer will have a financial investment in the Los Angeles Lakers come the ratification of this deal, where not only does Bob Iger and Josh Kushner, that group that has purchased the valuation at $12.5 billion from Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group, they are also going to go ahead and purchase the 17.8% as far as the ownership percentage that the Buses still had. So that's going to be, they're going to be the definitive majority owners of the Los Angeles Lakers going forward. I don't know about the other two. I think it's two smaller interest holders of the Los Angeles Lakers. I think nothing's been said or announced around that. I think those two are just Los Angeles Lakers fans. I don't know if they're in for the investment purposes, but I know at least one of them has been a long-time Lakers owner as far as it's concerned. So I don't think that they would sell, but they might. Who knows? Who knows at this point? Yes, that means that once the deal is ratified, and okayed, Jeannie will no longer be governor of the Los Angeles Lakers. That is correct, because of the fact, again, I wanted to go ahead and stress that it has to be ratified. But when you have, like I talked about on the Lakers' latest show, Josh Kushner, who already has owned percentages of the Miami Heat, and also which he has to sell his percentage on that. Plus, as well, the Memphis Grizzlies beforehand, he owned them before. He's been vetted already, so the league is very well aware of him, and of course, they're very well aware of Bob Iger as far as his background with ESPN and ABC and all that. But this is a group headed up by those two individuals in order to go ahead and get to this valuation of $12.5 billion. So I believe it will go through. Whether or not they decide to keep it for the long term, we'll have to wait and see. I know that Joe, again, pointed out Bob Iger 75. I pointed out that Kushner is a venture capitalist by nature, Thrive, his company, venture capitalist firm. It's what they do. They turn over stuff. They buy stuff, see what happens. Then if they need to sell, they sell. So we'll see what happens. Again, what the valuation down the road will be for the Los Angeles Lakers and if they'll be sold again. But for now, the Bob Iger, Josh Kushner group is solidifying the entire package in regards to ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers. Homelander says, I'm just glad the Lakers got great ownership. Well, we'll see if that's the case. Again, I don't want to get into the political stuff. I've been trying to get that through everyone's head. Read the documentation, read the public statements made by Josh Kushner that differentiate from his brother. I'm good. Again, whatever your politics are, they're your politics, and I respect you for that. But I don't like to get this show into politics, and I'll just say again, Kushner has stated publicly and voted publicly for the record that he has differentiated himself from his brother. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Again, you can take it for what it's worth. You cannot believe it, whatever. It's, again, public statements to go ahead about him and his wife as far as deviating from the rest of the Kushner family. So I'll leave it at that. But, of course, Bob Iger, former CEO of Disney on 2 occasions. Those two, again, will be heading up a group that is purchasing the Los Angeles Lakers from both Mark Walter, his majority shares, and also the Buss family. So they will be both no longer, once the deal is ratified, an ownership in any way, shape, or form of the Los Angeles Lakers. And it's going to get hard to, difficult to say because, the Buss family has been, almost my entire life since the late 70s. I was still a kid when, of course, he purchased it from Jack Kent Cooke. As far as if you watched Winning Time, it is a dramatization, but he did need help from certain individuals, which we won't discuss here, in order to get it. But he did get it and then transformed the Los Angeles Lakers, Dr. Jerry Buss, into something magical that many of us love to this day. So for that fact, I have to go ahead and thank the Buss family for what they've done for the many years that they've provided service to the Los Angeles community and the Lakers fans all around the world for what they did. But again, their time has come. And again, surprising to see. Yeah, I know, Justin, rolling over is great. You're probably going to be like, I think that's the second time someone said that in the past 10 minutes, Just, but I have a feeling you guys won't be the last to say that. I think I will see that comment many, many times indeed. Tony Lee says, wow, this is bad. Says, as long as they're about winning, I support them. I don't care about politics. Yeah, again, all we care about is getting titles. Let's get the titles. We're one behind Boston. That's what we need to worry about. Yeah, I know that Bob Iger was a Clippers season ticket fan holder before. I know that he was a Knicks fan before, but he sounds like he's an NBA fan first. And Kushner, I know that he owned or piece of the Memphis Grizzlies. I know he owned the piece or still owns a piece of the Miami Heat, which he has to sell off before this transaction goes completely through. But they're NBA fans first and foremost, which I do appreciate. And whether or not they're just there to go ahead and sell it at a higher valuation, they have had a great interest in the NBA, maybe not as Lakers fans, but as an NBA fan as a whole. So they do have a vested interest and a vested knowledge in the NBA. And I'm hoping, like you said, that they're going to apply that going forward. JSJ, Rob is going to GM for his life this season. He may have done that during the summer, going all out and leaving not much on the table. I mean, how many assets do we have left right now? Not much. Looks like a man that might have been seeing what's when he broke open the fortune cookie, seeing what's in the fortune and maybe saying, you know what, I think I better go ahead and apply myself much more so than I did last summer. But when it comes right down to it, guys, again, once this deal is ratified, the Buss family will no longer be having a percentage of ownership in the Los Angeles Lakers. Mark Walter, the CEO of the Guggenheim Group, he will no longer have an ownership in the Los Angeles Lakers. It will be this group led by Josh Kushner and Bob Iger, as it'll be very interesting to see how that parlays itself to what we're seeing with the Los Angeles Lakers going forward. And again, politics aside, we just want to see wins. We just want to see titles. We want to see Larry O'Brien trophies. We want more as Lakers fans. That's what I want, and that's what I know you want as well. So let's get some comments in here before we get into the Kawhi stuff, because that's another sticky mess in and of itself. Wouldn't be surprised if Rob and JJ are gone after the season unless they have guaranteed to stay. Well, if you remember just another name, just another. If you remember what was said last week, because again, Bob Iger had said that they were looking to go ahead and honor the handshake deal that Mark Walter had with Jeannie Buss about retaining governorship and control of the company, and as far as the team, as far as strategically going forward, and that involved Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick to an extent as well. So with that said, now that that shield is going to go away, what will this do as far as for how those two guys, meaning Josh Kushner and Bob Iger, and the group that supports them, how they're going to go ahead and be able to set up the front office going forward? So it'll be a very interesting thing to go ahead and talk about indeed. The legend says, Rob, I got your taxi. Nice one, legend. Nice one, legend indeed. He said, I got your taxi ready and bags packed, buddy. It's over. Again, proof is in the pudding. I have talked about it for years about Rob Pelinka. And again, he's not a terrible GM. He's not a good GM. He's an average GM, in my opinion, has gotten average results for a team that is expected to do higher, expected to do better. For every good thing he's done one or two bad things, and really mistakes. Every GM is no GM is perfect. Sam Presti, who we've praised on this show on many occasions, he is certainly not perfect, but you have to have more good moves, smart moves, good talent evaluations than bad ones. And when the quotient gets to about 50-50, 60-40, that's not going to equate to you winning a championship. And in 6 years after the title, it just doesn't seem like the Lakers, even when they made the Western Conference Finals, were as close as we wanted them to be as far as to a title team. And a lot of that could be due to the decision-making and talent evaluations of one Rob Pelinka indeed. So we'll see what happens at Drip Show, my man. At Drip Show Shop, everywhere on social media. Go ahead and buy all of his great stuff, custom stuff today, like what you see behind me with Luca and Kobe right there for you. Some awesome canvas art. The pillow right here with Kobe and Gigi. At Drip Show Shop says goodbye, Rob. And I'll say goodbye, Rob, if that's the case indeed. I will be, I don't want to say happy about him, because anybody losing your job, you shouldn't be happy about it. But I just think it will be a step in the right direction for the organization, because hopefully, depending on who they put in their place. Now, if they put someone as far as they already got their assistant GM from the New Orleans Pelicans, where that's kind of suspect in and of itself because of their moves in recent years. I mean, if they bring in the wrong guy for the GM slot, then yeah, it could be worse than what we're used to with Rob Pelinka. So the unknown is always getting us concerned. I mean, a lot of people were very happy. Joe was ecstatic when Mark Walter, CEO of the Guggenheim Group, bought the Los Angeles Lakers, because he has a track history in competing, having his teams compete at a high level and winning at a high level, at a championship level with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So he figured that would matriculate that attitude, that formula, that intelligence would matriculate into the Los Angeles Lakers organization. And unfortunately, those plans went awry last week. Well, obviously, in the past few weeks with the ongoing federal investigation, got a little too hot heavy. So Mark Walter had to make a decision. He made it. He sold this team. So now it goes into new owners. The Buss family and Mark Walter, CEO of the Guggenheim Group, they have sold their interest to this group led by Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. I mean, again, we know Bob Iger from his time at Disney. We talked about the highs, we talked about the lows under his auspices as CEO. There's certainly quite a bit of both. With Josh Kushner, we've talked about his time owning percentages of both the Miami Heat and Memphis Grizzlies. Again, he has to sell his interest in the Miami Heat, which he will probably due in due time here very shortly before the deal is ratified by the Los Angeles Lakers. So with that said, together as a group, they were looking for an expansion team here in Las Vegas, which now the price tag may go up to $10 billion. Obviously, a very pricey price tag indeed. So why not spend just a little bit more to get what you want in an NBA franchise? And no better NBA franchise to get than the Los Angeles Lakers. So with that said, though, that brings in a layer of unknown. And that's the part that I think myself and you guys out there are also concerned about as well, with the layer of unknown, because we don't know how these two and the group that's behind them, that's supporting them in the sale, how they will do as an ownership group going forward. The layer of unknown is out there. So that's what I'm sure everybody is concerned about indeed. But to once again, breaking and bringing in, thanks again for joining us. Got a big crowd here. Please like and subscribe. Wanted to go ahead and mention again that the Los Angeles Lakers, they've announced that the Buss family are selling their remaining 17.8% interest in the Los Angeles Lakers to the Iger-Kushner group. No reported actual fee of how much this is going to cost, but I did want to make sure and get everybody to know that once this deal is ratified, once this deal goes through with the NBA Board of Governors, and once it's all said and done, and I's are dotted, T's are crossed, not only will Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group, no longer be owner of the Lakers, but the Buss family, after decades, starting with Dr. Jerry Buss all those years ago, it'll be over. It'll be a new page that will be written by this new ownership group, because the Buss family, in a statement, I'll read it once again. And again, you guys make for what you will on this statement. Again, the Buss family said to ESPN in a statement, "We have decided as a family," which is the first thing that just blew me away, that they decided, if you knew all the insides, or if you read all the inside, if you heard all the insides about this family, deciding anything together as a family is just like whacked. "We have decided as a family to sell the remaining Buss Family Trust shares to the Bob Iger Group as part of the ongoing transaction. We love the Lakers fans, and will continue to support Los Angeles. But it is time to use this opportunity to move on and exit gracefully while we still can." That was like, wow. I mean, so if you wait, you won't be able to exit gracefully? Or if you decide, oh, yeah, since 78 or 79, that's right, Craig. If they decide to, they had decided, oh, let's just sell 10 years from now, they can't exit gracefully then? I don't get it. That's the part I'm not, saying that right now. Is that a problem? Or because, like I said, it looks like it was going to. Does that intimate that that there was going to get ugly, or a battle would be forming between the Bob Iger Group, Josh Kushner Group, that would own the majority of the Los Angeles Lakers, and the minority owners of the Buss family? Is that where they say it was going to lead to? Maybe there was discussion and arguments already taking place that led the Buss family to see that, you know what, it's not going to work. Did they not like the statement of Bob Iger, who had put, in a quote, paraphrasing here, that he was going to honor the agreement as best they could, but if things changed, they changed. They didn't like those exact words. Maybe that's the case, but exit gracefully. Again, that's what they were going to get. Again, we don't know. Again, Bob Iger said, for the record, to Kobe Price of the California Post, and props to him for getting that interview, he said they were going to try and honor it as best they could. But if things change, they change. You didn't think it was going to change that quickly. But again, it sounds like that they had, from that statement, maybe they already had internal discussions with the Iger-Kushner group about the direction of the team. They saw the writing on the wall, and they said, we're going to get out while the getting's good. We'll have to wait and see. If he dies, he dies. But again, we'll have to wait and see how this parlays itself out. But again, want to make sure everybody knows that, again, the Buss family has decided to sell its remaining 17.8% ownership stake in the Los Angeles Lakers to new majority owners Josh Kushner and Bob Iger, and who are heading the group that is buying the Lakers at this time. JY says Lakers are irrelevant and the championship window's gone. Only Lakers fanatics, media outlets are keeping the Lakers relevant. Thoughts, G? Well, JY, ESPN, they have the Lakers, even in tough times, they have the Lakers at or near the top. I mean, for instance, who has the most nationally televised games this year, or who is tied for it with two other teams? You guessed it, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, why is that the case? Because the Los Angeles Lakers, whether times are good, bad, or indifferent, that name, that team, the Los Angeles Lakers, they get the names, they get the clicks, they get the views, they get the words, they get the eyeballs like very few other franchises in the sports world gets, JY. So keeping the Lakers relevant, whoever owns it, I think will continue to go ahead and be a factor. But the Lakers themselves, just because the marquee, just because 17 world championships later and one of the most visible teams on the planet, will always keep them relevant going forward, JY. I don't think we will lose relevancy as a fan base, as a organization, just because there's going to be new owners in place. There will always be an interest of what's going on the court and behind the scenes, the Los Angeles Lakers, just because of its proximity, its history, where it's located at, and all the things that are going on, all the different dynamics that make up the Los Angeles Lakers. I will still say that it's going to be Los Angeles Lakers still, at least hopefully by the NBA, as far as what they're thinking, we'll still have the Lakers at or near the top of the marquee each and every season. I don't think that's going to be in question going forward. Craig said new owners told Bus family everyone is out. Probably. Again, that could have been behind the scenes. What was said in front as far as a public statement that was made by Bob Iger could differ. And those things that could change, they changed, and they changed rather quickly. But it seemed like, again, like what Bob Iger's initial statement said, that he would try to honor the agreement, the handshake agreement that was taking place. But by those statements by the Bus family, seemingly it suggests that the Bus family realized that the writing was on the wall and it was not going to have a pretty exit out of the organization if they would have stayed. So again, we'll have to wait and see how that all lines itself out, who gets the scoop on what happens behind the scenes. But again, the Bus family has decided to sell its remaining 17.8% ownership stake in the LA Lakers to a new majority owners, Josh Kushner and Bob Iger, and the group that they're heading up, which is also buying the shares from Mark Walter, CEO of the Guggenheim Group. So they will be the majority owners going forward without question, indeed. JY says prime LeBron on the squad. Lakers aren't getting sold. Lucas supposedly being this championship player is BS. Thoughts? I think the federal investigation, JY, would have been sold regardless. But if you're talking about if this was prime LeBron and the Lakers were in the midst of a championship run, 2 out of 3 titles, 2 out of 3 years, stuff like that, the Bus family may not have sold in the first place because of it. If there was a history of success, recent history of success, to the level that would satisfy both you, myself, and everyone out there, let's say like 3 out of the past 4 years, they would win titles or something really good like that, I don't think we would be having this conversation. I agree with you. I think that the Bus family would have found ways to keep a hold of it, despite their inner strife between the family members. Because if it takes this transaction that happened last week with the Kushner Iger family to go ahead and bring this Bus family together, as you and I both know, this Bus family never has come together on anything, even selling the team last year. The Bus kids didn't want to go ahead and as far as be able to sell. They didn't want to sell last year. So now all of a sudden they want to sell. Now all of a sudden all the entire family wants to sell. Something happened internally that we're not privy to as of yet that probably necessitated this, so that they're jumping ship as we speak. Craig says Laker girls will be okay, fair enough, Greg. Ruben, what's going on, my friend? Rob Pelinka should go back to being a sports agent. Being a general manager isn't his thing. I agree. I just again the talent evaluation has always needed to be at a higher level for Palinka, and over the 6 years we found that for every Luka deal that he lands, there's a Russell Westbrook deal that takes place. For every evaluation that he might get right, there's an evaluation that he gets wrong, and then some. And that's the problem. He has not been able to reach the mountaintop since 2020. And as you and I both know, with a team like the Los Angeles Lakers that's known worldwide, one of the biggest franchises on this planet, there's an expectation to win at such a level. And if you're not getting to that level, then the pressure should be on you each and every day. And so, with that said, it looks like at this point in time, the Bucks family is deciding to bail and sell off their 17.8%. Obviously, there's something that we're not privy to as far as what was said or done behind the scenes, reading the writing on the wall, and said, you know what? If they all come together, on this decision, I think that should tell you all you need to know about what was going on with the wholesale and what their feelings are with Kushner and Iger and all that. So we'll have to wait and see how this new ownership, now that they have full control, once this deal is ratified, once Jeannie Buss is gone and no longer governor, we'll have to see what their vision is going forward. Indeed, Tony, what's going on? We have to be honest with ourselves. The Lakers have been the same since Dr. Buss died. Maybe it's time for a change. Well, they did have a brief moment, Tony, when they had reached the mountaintop in 2020 and had LeBron and AD. You just had to keep sustainable players around them, and they could have achieved a high level. I mean, Joe has even stated, had they made the right moves, we could have been talking about 2 or 3-peat during that time frame in those early years of this decade. But obviously, we saw some moves like letting Caruso walk, favoring THT, drafting guys like JHS, Dalton Connect, unfortunately, some other busts along the way. Also, as well, the worst trade in Lakers history with Russell Westbrook, followed by one of the best trades in Lakers history with Luka Doncic. Again, it's balancing itself out as far as the concern overall, as far as the performance. And again, I've always said that if you equated Rob's tenure as a general manager to a college student per se, as far as that's concerned, and said, okay, in all the classes, you've got an A here, you've got a B here, you've got a C here, A, C, F here, B. It balances itself out to where it just shows that he is a mediocre student and a mediocre GM. And unfortunately for our, I guess, expectations as Lakers fans, it needs to be something better. But we will wait and see. Again, he will no longer have that safety net in Jeannie Buss once this deal is ratified, because the Buss family has decided to sell 17.8% of its shares. It's the rest of its shares that it has, unless we are told specifically that she's going to stay on in some type of deal going forward. But again, I'm going to go ahead and get you update on some things that are going on as far as this sale is concerned. The meeting was held Tuesday. During the meeting, there was no mention of a pending sale between Mark Walter and Bob Iger, Josh Kushner sources. So there was a meeting last Tuesday with Joe McCormack, Senior VP of Finance, called for emergency meeting of the Buss siblings last Monday to discuss the dissolution of the family trust and seeking unanimous approval to lock down all family shares for 4 years under a new trust. So again, interesting the timeline. So let me tell you this again. The Lakers Senior VP of Finance, Joe McCormack, one of the trusted long-term employees, I believe he's one of the ones that got the Kobe payment last year, either $8 or $24 million when the team got sold last year. He said, called for an emergency meeting of the Buss siblings last Monday. So that was last Monday, to discuss a dissolution of the family trust and seeking unanimous approval to lock down all family shares for 4 years under a new trust. Sources told ESPN. Man, these sources with ESPN. Okay, we'll talk about that here in a little bit with Kawhi. But so the timeline, remember Sunday, a week ago Sunday, was when the initial call was made by Iger-Kushner, that group, to Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group. So they're saying on Monday, Joe McCormack, VP of Finance, called for emergency meeting of the Bus siblings to discuss a dissolution of the family trust and seeking unanimous approval to lock down all family shares for 4 years under new trust. So someone got wind of something, and somebody was trying to go ahead and act accordingly in regards to that. So, do I see Walter selling his stake in Chelsea? Yeah, that's a possibility because I think the Dodgers is more safe because that is purchased along with the Guggenheim Group. The Chelsea, I believe, is also like the Lakers, and it was by Mark Walter himself, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's the case, that could be very much in play because of the fact, they're what they were talking about in regards to the Mark Walter financial investigation involving his insurance companies, as much as 20 billion with a B, $21 billion plus as far as the money being circulated around that's in question right now. That's a lot of B's right there for you. So if that's the case, that could put Chelsea in play. Mr. Kodak says he's in trouble. Yeah, he's in definite trouble. It was said before, I believe, by Pablo Torre. He said Pablo Torre had spoken to other owners of other teams, and when they go to the White House, they always give the jersey or a uniform or a shirt and whatnot, but they never give a ring. So when Mark Walter presented Donald Trump, again, your politics aside, politics aside, when you present Donald Trump with a World Series ring for someone who, right or left, knows that he likes his gifts. I mean, who wouldn't like a Qatari plane, I guess, but be that as it may, he likes his gifts. He's known to like his gifts. FIFA gave him that peace thing from the peace prize from the individual who, man, that FIFA president is in a lot of trouble himself, and I'll just leave it at that. But with that said, never a ring as a present. So what did that mean? What was the behind that? So I'll just leave it at that on that one there, and I'll let your imagination run wild on that. And again, I don't want to get into political stuff or whatnot, but some people like their presents, some people like their gifts. Indeed. Craig said Jeannie hired her friends. Yes, the Rambi. Of course, Rob Pelinka. What happens to all these long-standing Lakers individuals, ones that have had great influence on the Los Angeles Lakers direction for many, many years? What happens to all these individuals? We're going to wait and see. I would say their seats a little bit warmer than they were this time a couple weeks ago. Indeed, I hope they got off vacation very quickly. Again, Bob C said, here's Bob C. I know, Bob C, you've had some concerns about this as well, in regards from a political standpoint. Yes, I understand about the government contracts. Well, I didn't say they're clean or dirty. Again, that's not for me to go ahead and suggest. I can only tell you what Josh Kushner has said politically as far as this is concerned. Again, because that seems to be a stickler issue with you as far as dirty. Again, if they're dirty, then the government will investigate them too and will get them to. But if there's some stuff as far as relating to the president or anything like that, as far as the connection there, again, that's not for me to say. I just go ahead and I report what I actually can see and verify to you as an audience. That's the only thing I can do, Bob. That's the only thing I can do. I know you mentioned it before. I know you'll mention it again. As far as the government contracts and all that, I can only tell you what I have seen and what I've reported on as actual fact, as far as what has been stated publicly by Josh Kushner himself and his wife. So, in regards to this, because that seems to be a stickler, not just for you, Bob, just for, and I respect your opinion absolutely tremendously on this, and I appreciate you watching as always, my friend. But I know that's not just you. There's been dozens of people. I've gotten on my Spotify. I've gotten on my Lakers latest in regards to whatever political ties that he has. Whatever political ties he has, again, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I cannot control that. Mark Walter, with his background as far as owning some of the correction facilities for, that were utilized by ICE and whatnot. That was reported out there. I mean, when you get to that high up, as far as concerned, as far as on the food chain, as far as how much a dollar amount, how many of those individuals are truly clean? I don't know. Again, I don't know. You would have to look at the bank account and the investments of all those individuals to find out for sure. But again, there's going to be a question when somebody acquires that amount of money. There's going to be a lot of question, more than answers, more times than not on that. But again, getting back to the Los Angeles Lakers, the Bust family, obviously starting to see the writing on the wall, decided to go ahead and sell their shares. But the fact that they all came together on it, and the fact that they all see the writing so quickly on it, is something that I think we're going to have to talk about. I'll try to stop by later tonight and go ahead and discuss in more detail, since it looks like Joe is not here. I don't know if I'll be able to get Legend on today because I know his timing of his work is going to be a problem indeed, but we'll see what we can work out for you guys here. I also got a show later on I have to do. It's 10 years in the pop culture cosmos, and I'm going to have to go ahead and bring that to you here hopefully later on today as well. Bob said it's sad pro teams are just a plaything, and that's the problem, Bob. That's 100% agree with you on that. I mentioned this last week when it happened. I just felt like I felt numb. I didn't feel emotion or anger or hatred or anything like that. I just felt numb because to me it seemed like the Lakers have just been turned into a commodity to be bought and sold. And as again, Joe pointed out the age of Bob Iger at 75, and again I pointed out the fact that he's the head of Kushner is of Thrive Capital. It's in his interest. It's what he does is he turns over things. He makes investments, sees what he can make out of it, and move on. And do I see this group, holding on to this this team for generations? I do not. I do not. Again, we talked about it last week. I asked Legend, asked the panel, over under 10 years. I think all of us went under 10 years before they sell it again. And again, with the valuations keep going up and up and up on these teams, I mean, could it get to $20 billion? Absolutely could get to the point where Lakers are $20 billion. Would they not sell if offered? Yeah, there you go. But the problem is these teams are less and less owned by individuals or groups that love that specific team, that have grown up that specific fans. Like right now, for the Bust family, the Bust family grew up as Lakers fans because their dad owned the team. So they grew up as Lakers fans. So they have a love, whatever you say about them as ownership group, as owners, you cannot say they didn't love the Lakers. You cannot say that because that was their life for decades, in and around this family, as far as that's concerned. So that's the problem, as far as what we're seeing with sports today and sports ownership, is that we're not seeing as many individuals own these teams because they love owning them, and that's the part that's going to be lost more and more so as we move on. Again, we'll see less and less of that, and we'll see more just commodities like stocks to be bought and sold, and it's just a fact of life when you're talking about billion-dollar properties like this. Ruben says, hope the new Lakers owners can make our home jerseys gold again. The banana. Well, Ruben, you might want to mention that to him. But I might want to mention to Bob Iger, indeed. Bob says, I'm having a hard time moving on from the sale because I'm aware of the Kushner's business history. I was excited. And again, I'm not going to take you away from that. I'm not going to take you away from that. I can only report what is been reported out there. But again, the last name Kushner and what has done, or what it has been accused of doing, or what has been pardoned for doing, or what has been, it's all out there. It's all out there. And I can't, and if you have an issue with it, Bob, I have to respect your opinion on it. And I can understand. I can understand and empathize with you on that. I want to get excited again. I need Lakers Anonymous. Bloodhound says PE can only fund a max of 20% of the purchase value as per NBA rules. Yeah, so well, there you go. Bloodhound. The jerseys are made by Nike. They have to make the change. There you go, Drip Show. Yeah. You and Ruben make the change. Have Drip Show design the jerseys for the Los Angeles Lakers. There you go. That's somebody give a call to Nike and get them in touch with Drip Show to make the new gold uniforms. There you go, indeed. There you go. Craig says Lakers have been sold by Bob Short, Jack Cook, and now the Bust family. And that's where we're at right now, as far as that's concerned, because the Bust family have agreed in principle to sell their remaining 17.8% shares to the group headed up by Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. So now, along with the shares owned by Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group, they now own that percentage. So they have what? We're talking 90+% of the Los Angeles Lakers is now, pending approval, of course, going to be owned by Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. What does that say for all the long-standing and short-standing individuals? Because you got to remember, there are people that moved over from the Dodgers or that were hired during the Mark Walter era that are probably thinking, what do I do now? Update my LinkedIn? I might have to, because again, that's going to be a problem for them indeed. We'll have to wait and see, because they're in question, because you have, again, long-standing employees, you have employees that have come within the last year, and then you have employees that the ownership group, I'm sure, are already having discussions with bringing in as well. So yes, going to be very interesting indeed. Bloodhound says Mark Walter is selling a stake in Chelsea too. Yes, there you go. See, that was asked earlier in the show that he's selling his stake in Chelsea too. That is not surprising, because that was purchased by he himself. And unlike the Dodgers, which was purchased by the Guggenheim Group as a whole, along with Mark Walter heading that as CEO of the Guggenheim Group, Chelsea and the Lakers were purchased by him outright. So Bob says, if the Lakers give me 60 mil, I will give Kawhi 59 million to mow my hair. And that's the other thing I want to get to before we head on out. I wanted to go ahead and mention as well with the news that came just before it, with a giddy Baxter Holmes trying to be the guy that Pablo Torre already has won a Pulitzer for, stating that sources within the investigation have said that they're going to find no wrongdoing as far as the Clippers are concerned. So take that for what it's worth. But less than an hour later, the NBA said, well, hold up. That may not be the case as far as the NBA is concerned. So yes, Ramona Shelburne and Shams Charania, they said that the NBA has found no evidence, along with Baxter Holmes, have found no evidence showing the LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer funneled money through team sponsors to pay Kawhi Leonard in order to circumvent the salary cap. If that's that's according to sources. The NBA has said the investigation has not been completed as of yet, so they quickly disputed those sources. The statement made by ESPN. ESPN is still sticking by its story for now, and so we'll wait and see if that's the case. I'm not going to get mad yet. I said I would be livid if the Clippers got away with this and Kawhi got away with this. This smells hard, and there is a paper trail. There is a paper trail in both as far as aspiration and Daktronics, and they're trying to. If that's the case, and they do sweep it under the rug, something really smells. And again, it just shows that money wins out on this as well. It's like talking about the Lakers. And as far as money, as far as being the dictator, the factor in all this, it might happen to be as well with the Clippers. And that's going to be something very interesting to see. But again, nothing has been announced by the league officially as of yet. Those were just reports from Baxter Holmes, who has seemed giddy in his attempts to try and thwart Pablo Torre. As far as it's concerned, we'll see if that remains to be the case. But yes, there could be still circumstances where disciplinary action is needed as far as how Kawhi was introduced to the Rhode Island Fire, the Aspiration Group, and also as well Daktronics Group. So there could be still some issues there. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how it shakes down. But just before I was heading on out, look who shows up. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. We'll get the Kawhi stuff out of the way later on. Again, I just dropped that. But for now, I will go ahead and drop it back with you and get you back into this in regards to the Buss family deciding to sell its remaining 17.8% ownership stake in the Los Angeles Lakers to the new majority owners, Josh Kushner and Bob Iger. In a prepared statement, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you again. In a prepared statement, we have decided as a family to sell the remaining Buss family trust shares to the Bob Iger Group as part of the ongoing transaction. We love the Lakers fans, and will continue to support Los Angeles, but it is time to use this opportunity to move on and exit gracefully while we still can. While we still can. And before I get your words on this, my friend, a week ago Monday, according to reports from Dave McMenamin, Senior VP of Finance Joe McCormick, one of the long-standers, one of the guys who got the Kobe balloon payment, I believe he is one of them, called for an emergency meeting of the Buss siblings last Monday to discuss a dissolution of the family trust and seeking unanimous approval to lock down all family shares for 4 years under a new trust. That supposedly came one day after the initial call was made from Bob Iger and Josh Kushner to Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group. So your thoughts on all this mess? It seems like the Buss family is trying to bail itself out. The first thing I was surprised of that they all got together and decided something, Joe. And then it's seemingly as well that they've decided while they could leave while they can as gracefully as they could. Those words that were chosen, kind of makes you think indeed.
Well, it's not that out of the realm that they got ahead of this, because why wait? And this isn't so much the version of Succession than just more of the fact that I'm trying not to be. We immediately go to the negative in society, and again, I'm not saying that I don't do that almost on everything I see, but it's weird to see good business and then all of a sudden that same thing or person all of a sudden do really bad business. I don't know what happened here. I don't think any of us really know what happened without unless you just look at kind of the basics of what happened. You had alluded to something that I think a lot of people don't know, and that is there's a difference between Mark Walter, the owner of the Lakers and Chelsea, versus Mark Walter, the owner attached to the Guggenheims who own the Dodgers. It's a completely different ownership. Now, Mark Walter, as the leader of whatever he's doing, held a lot of credibility based off of how he had run the previous operation, or continues to operate the current operation with the Dodgers. We had no reason to assume that this kind of stuff was going to develop. How would we know unless we knew? So the Buss family, the thing that kept ringing into my head on my way here, and what rang was, be careful what you wish for. You might get it. And that's not a good thing. We're sitting here for years here now begging for the Buss family to sell or not be in charge or whatever. Well, folks, we got what we wanted. And I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing.
We'll have to wait and see. Again, the unknown, Joe, is the thing I think that gets everybody, is because the unknown of this new ownership and how it will treat this organization going forward. You had mentioned, again, I've said stressed several times, you had mentioned that Bob Iger is 75. I've mentioned that Josh Kushner, he owns a A venture capital group. So by their very nature, we may not see this ownership group in place for, my guess is it's probably not going to be for decades, like we saw the Bus family own the Los Angeles Lakers. So with that said, it is becoming more and more apparent that these teams are just commodities to be bought and sold to an extent, per se. So with that, your thoughts, but in the time that they do own this team, do you see them making collective effort to make this team a much better one than it is right now?
I don't trust any of these people. Call me a pessimist, call me whatever. I don't trust any of these guys. I trusted Mark Walter because I've seen his work, but now we can't trust him. So this isn't going to affect our lives. You know, we have good families, we're healthy, we live a good life. But from a Laker fan standpoint, until it's shown, it's I think we're there, and even then, I'm still waiting on who actually owns the team, because Josh Kushner and Bob Iger do not own this team.
Well, again, they're heading up a group. It's been mentioned that's a group.
No.
I don't know about this group.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, Kushner owns the Thrive venture capitalist firm, which I believe. So,
yeah. And private equity and venture capitalists have been the disease to society here the last 5-6 years. So
I'm not disagreeing with you, and that's why I said, you know, the unknown is concerning me as it is you, as far as how long, you know, and how committed this ownership will actually end up being.
I don't know. And a lot of the blame needs to go to the owners of the NBA as well as Mr. Adam Silver. Adam Silver continues to denigrate everything and anything at this point. The fact that the last few ownership changes, like let's say the Dallas Mavericks and the Portland Trailblazers, would you say that these last 3 ownership changes in those 3 cities have been positive? I mean, you have Dumont in Dallas. He trades one of the most, if not the most popular player in the history of the Dallas Mavericks. I even with Dirk Nowitzki being really number 1 there, I actually think that people love Luka more than they love Dirk. And then you have Portland, who hired a Frank McCourt clone and Tom Dunham, or Dundon.
Dundon.
I call him Dum Dum, but that's easier to say. But he's a disaster already, trying to save paper clips. And then now you have Bob Iger, who was successful at Disney, who's kind of a celebrity in the world. A lot of people know who Bob Iger is, one of the few CEOs in the world that people actually know. But then you have some guy named John Kushner, who
Josh Kushner.
Sorry, Josh. They're all, again, like I said, they all sound the same to me. Whom has a history with family stuff that, pardon the pun, ventures into shitty areas. No, I don't feel anything. I think at this point, I'm going to wait and see if this is just another asset that the American people are selling off for money so that they can continue their lavish lifestyle, not understanding that they're destroying their country. It sounds a little deep there, but it's true. You're letting an outside influence dictate And everybody just sits there. Well, it's for money. It's really, you know, after a while, when you keep saying that stupid shit, you're the problem too. Oh, it's about money. It's about money. Well, so what the fuck does that even mean? Are you going to start telling me now when they end up finding out that there's some kind of underage ring going on? You're going to say, oh, well, it's about money. Of course it's about money. We know that shit. But at what point are you going to sacrifice your livelihood and the future of your children and your country? This is not, unless I see it, this is not money coming from an American angle. It's not money that's coming from an American source. And when you take that risk, you take the risk that these people are going to start taking control of certain things. And if you don't believe me, just look at how society's been the last decade. And it's not just the last decade. It's been a long run, but it's just becoming more noticeable now. Those are the things that you want to think about. And if you're going to be true about who you are and doing the right thing, right? Sounds kind of corny, right? Doing the right thing. Yeah, right. Are you going to support this? Oh, yeah, sure. They'll support it if the Lakers start winning. But the sellout already happened. I know this because I'm sitting with my children. Now, my children aren't watching the sports. They're playing on their phones, their iPads, or whatever. But they're in the room because I have this thing where I like my kids around me. We don't have to be conversating. I just like hearing my kids laugh and just be around. It's just it's how my kids already know this. I go, I need you guys around. I can't just not see you. I can't have you guys upstairs for 18 hours straight. You need to come down and just be around dad because it's my energy. So I'm sitting there, and this is the MLB network. I'm not blaming it all on Adam Silver and his dumbass. Every commercial was about drugs from pharma, penis enlargements, and gambling sites. Now, there was a time where you saw beer, you saw fabric softeners, and you still sort of see that, but I don't really, I'm surprised when I see those things now. Now it's all gambling, skanks, and cocks. It's hard to be descriptive, but that's the only way I can think of it.
I wouldn't know you any other way, Joe.
This is our life, and it's justified. This is why I get pissed off when someone tells me, well, I certainly respect the Kardashians and how they do business. I go, you respect a mother whoring her daughter, and then you'll have the nerve to get pissed off when you find out that there's a red alert in your neighborhood about some guy that's been arrested for certain things. Again, I don't want to go that route right now. This is about the Lakers, and I get it. But that's the point of all this. The point is, when is it enough? Why don't we know who the real owners are? We already know that these guys are the owners, but it's not their money. And when it's not their money, who owns this team? And maybe that's why the Buss family sold. They don't want to have anything to do with them. We've been sitting here criticizing Jeannie Buss and the Buss family and Rob Pelinka and all the people around them. Maybe we're the ones that were stupid. And now they're telling us. So when you screw up, admit that you screwed up. Because right now I'm thinking maybe Jeannie Buss does have the ethics. Maybe she does have the care. And we've been sitting here shitting on her this whole time and everyone around her. And again, I'm not saying that this wasn't inevitable. They had to sell. It was too big for them. That part is 100%. There's nothing they could have done about it. It's just what it is. But we also have to pay attention and maybe give them a little bit of credit in that maybe Jeannie Buss and the Buss family actually do have ethics and got out of this as soon as they found out who was involved. I don't want to be associated with this. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens to Dr. Patrick? I don't know who Ed Roski is. I know who Dr. Soon Chung is.
Let me just go ahead and say it off, because 805 said Mark Walter owned 100% of the Los Angeles Lakers. That's incorrect. He never at any time owned 100% of Lakers. Because remember, the Buss family, when they sold that vested interest in the Los Angeles Lakers for a valuation of 10 billion, they still retained 17.8% of their ownership. So Genie could stay in as governor. Now that they have sold off or agreed in principle to sell off their 17.8%, the Buss family has. Once that deal goes through, Genie no longer has the right of privilege as governor of the Los Angeles Lakers moving forward. So with that said, 805, that's incorrect. Mark Walter never had, CEO of the Guggenheim Group, never had 100% ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers at any point in time. The two minority owners, again, as Joe mentioned, Patrick Soon-Shiong in 2010 purchased the 4.5% that Magic Johnson owned. He purchased it. He's a minority owner of the Lakers. And Ed Roski has owned the Lakers 2.5% of them since 1998. So there you go, Joe. Ed Roski has owned the Lakers. I mean, he could probably walk in the building, Joe, and no one would know who he is. Absolutely no one would know unless they're longtime, employees and whatnot. He could probably walk through the whole crypto.com arena and people wouldn't know who he is.
That's the best of both worlds: being rich, being prominent, but no one knows who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Be curious to see how those guys play this out. I'm also interested in how these guys are going to.
Oh, and 805, Mark Walter purchased this separately from the Guggenheim Group. That's why the Dodgers probably will not be sold, because Mark Walter purchased that with the Guggenheim Group, Joe, as opposed to Chelsea and the Lakers, where Mark Walter bought that separately. Yes, BDA Pink will probably go just, get you a new one. He'll yell and scream at you if you don't get that correctly. So, yes.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if Doc will sell as well as Roski. I don't know who Roski is anyways.
But I heard the Chelsea, according to Bloodhound, the Chelsea shares are being sold as well.
Yeah, and because I believe the number I saw, I've heard 25.
21 billion.
If it's 21, I heard 25, but if it's 21,
I read 21, so you may be right on that.
Yeah.
As far as the number of billions in play, as far as the federal investigation is concerned about money being funneled through his insurance companies illegally.
Yeah, it's I want to know who the real owners are.
Jay's Magic has made a lot of money his post NBA career. Joe will tell you, when he tells the story of when he met Magic. Magic has been a very successful businessman with ownership as a franchisee owner of several different, I think Starbucks and among others, if I remember correctly, and then also as well mini malls. He was heavily into mini malls at one time. Is that correct?
Magic was one of the few people that actually went into the inner cities and invested in the inner cities. And a lot of that is because people that want to invest in things feel comfortable with Magic, and people that are in the inner cities felt comfortable with Magic. So it was the perfect union. He was the perfect broker in those things. And people said, if Magic's going to vouch for this and be a supporter, because Magic's not, he's like, a lot of the reasons why Hulk Hogan became who he was, despite what you think of him and how shrewd he was behind the scenes with certain people, the man went places and he showed himself. John Cena was also a guy that did things like that. A lot of Make-A-Wish Foundation stuff. Hulk Hogan was like that. Magic Johnson is like that. These guys are there. They're present. That's the word I was looking for. He's very present, and he's so present. And this is because it's his personality, too. That helps. Whereas I think guys like Hulk Hogan, it was part of their personality, because I think in the long run, I think Hulk Hogan did want to do as much as he could in a good way. But he felt a little bit more forced, maybe, and he did it. I think that's why he ran out of gas towards the end of his life. But Magic is that guy. He loves people. And when he shakes your hand, he looks you in the face and he shakes your hand and he gives you that amazing smile and he's present. That is Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson makes you feel safe. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're in the inner city, whether you're in a high rise, that's who Magic is. People feel comfortable with him there, even if he's just there. So he's vouched for Bob Iger, but the problem with Magic is he likes everything. He loves everyone. And that's not always good. Liking everyone is not a very smart thing. All those guys that went to the Diddy parties, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but
I can.
It's funny. It's funny how you don't hear those people talk. Like no one has the balls, including the women, although a lot of them would want one. But anyways, they don't explain. Hey, look, I just went to a party because I was invited, and he was the Hugh Hefner of this era. No one likes to talk about that because they're afraid they're going to get backlash. And I'm like, dude, just admit, like, you went to the party. Stop being so scared unless there's something to be scared of. I mean, my friend shook Bill Cosby's hand. Does that make him a supporter of Bill Cosby? He shook his hand while he was doing a set. So, what have we learned today? I'll tell you what I've learned today. I have learned that you must be very, very careful in how you assess bad and good. Because the bad that you think is bad might not be as bad as you think. There might be a badder one coming. And I believe at this point, I don't know if it's going to change, but I believe at this point, we might be eating what we've been talking about. We might end up eating a giant one before it's all said and done. I do not trust Josh Kushner, and I do not trust Bob Iger as of today. I do not trust those people. And I don't trust them because they're at the behest of someone else. I don't trust people who can't control. I don't like the term owner when you don't really own it. That means there's somebody controlling you at the top. Those are the people that I'm worried about. When you know about certain people that are quote unquote manipulating things in the world or in business or in whatever, my question is always, who's really in charge? The guy that's really in charge is going to, if he's smart, won't reveal himself or herself. So when you know it's this person, is it really? No, it isn't. The smart one isn't gonna, you're not gonna know about him. And that is where I'm at right now. I do want to say this, despite all the venom that I've thrown at Jeannie and Rob and everyone. Well, I'm saying this to the Bus family, not so much Rob Pelinka. He hasn't been there that long. But to the Bus family, your father, in my view, was the greatest owner in sports. And I actually don't think there's anybody close in my lifetime, literally in my lifetime. I was born in 78. Dr. Bus bought the team in 79. So almost my entire life, almost my entire life, he is the greatest owner in sports. And if you want to call me biased because he's a Laker owner, that's fine. I got statistics to prove it. In 49 and 47 years of owning the Lakers, the Bus family, the Lakers became one of the most iconic sports franchises on the planet. It's the #1 basketball franchise on the planet. They went to 16 NBA Finals, won 11 World Championships in that span. And not only that, but we saw some of the most amazing games you'll ever see in any sport. So I want to thank the Bus family, thank them for their father, thank them for everything. And then I think we might have we might have punched ourselves in the face and not really realized what just happened.
Before we head on out, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and discuss again, real quickly, the ongoing Kawhi saga. According to sources, a very giddy Baxter Holmes, who's continually trying to prove Pablo Torre wrong, although the facts speak for themselves. I'll just leave it at that. Has stated that the investigation is going to prove out, according to sources close to the investigation. I'm assuming it's from the Clippers that are leaking this. That the Clippers are going to not be found of any wrongdoing in this investigation. But less than an hour later, after that report came out, the NBA quickly denied that was going to be the case and that the investigation is still ongoing. So, with that said, my friend, it seems like things are hopefully coming down to the wire, and especially because of what happened today with this report, whether or not that's the case. Again, I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to go off the handle just yet because, again, the investigation has not been officially completed. But you know, if you're somebody that wants justice to be done, and you see the facts clearly laid out, circumstantial or otherwise, this has got to be of concern indeed, that justice may not play itself out and the right thing may not be done in concern to punishment to the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard.
I was scrolling through my YouTube and Pablo Torre popped up on one of the main interviews, I guess he did, and it was one of those tabloid type, like, you know how Newsmax, you know what Newsmax is, right?
Yes, I do.
Newsmax tries to make their show look like it's CNN, but you could tell it looks like somebody's doing it off a green screen.
Yes.
Right? So there's a show, I don't know, there's that one smoking hot brunette that's on it. It's the other spectrum, the liberal side of Newsmax. He was on one of those shows. And again, when I tell you guys my instincts, it's not so I can brag or boast, okay? I saw that pull up. And I saw this some dude I'd never seen before doing the interview. And then I saw the smoke show that I've seen do shows like that with that one Turk guy back in the day, back when the elections were going on. He's always one that's always yapping and screaming and going crazy, right? But as soon as I saw Pablo on that show, my alert went out. I go, what the hell is he doing on this show? This is a bad look. And now his credibility just went to shit even more. And the reason why that matters is because didn't he win a Pulitzer? Is that
he did win a Pulitzer? Yes.
Okay.
Again, if you watched all 14 episodes, you would probably give him a Pulitzer too, because the investigative reporting on that issue, and far as they have dotted a lot of dots on this coloring book. And I'll just say again, if you've watched, like I have, all those episodes, it is impressive work, to say the least.
Okay. I have not watched it, and I will not.
Well, then again, I can tell you what I've seen off of that.
And I don't, and it's not because I'm being disrespectful. It's just I don't think it's not something that I want to do, which is why it's nice to have people do it. Then I can just kind of go off that. But it's not that important to me. I don't care about the Clippers. I mean, I can't explain to you how much I don't give a damn about the Clippers. If they disintegrated tomorrow, I would look, and then I go back to doing what I'm doing. I do not give a shit whether Kawhi is there, he's not there, whether they get punished or not. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter who owns the Clippers. It doesn't matter who plays for them. They are a cursed, pathetic, disgusting franchise that will never win jack shit. Okay? It doesn't matter. And you all have seen this enough. The richest guy in sports can't get these guys to win. No one else is going to win. No one's going to help that team win. And again, I don't give a shit. And I just want this thing to go away. And now we have bigger problems. We have a possible issue with what the previous ownership did. In the 9 months he was an owner, that could be catastrophic to Laker fans, because are we going to be supporting some outside source? And I'm sure there's outside sources that we know own the things that we like, but we don't know about it. But this one we're going to know about. I can't help not knowing. I don't know. Did some guy in Iran make this and I hate Iran? Whatever, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know about this. If he made this and I haven't, right? But we do know that what's fact is that Josh Kushner and Bob Iger are the owners of the LA Lakers, but they're not. Are we going to support now an ownership that's behind the scenes that do very, very bad things? Because that's going to be important to know, right? Or do we not care as long as they win? I don't know. Winning cures a lot of ills, I guess. But we don't know.
We don't know indeed, but I'm assuming that more will be said and done and talked about in the coming days and weeks in regards to this full sale.
The second apron is not an issue of whether a team will go beyond that. The second apron is a hard cap. You're capped. You can't do shit even if you wanted to drop $100 million in luxury tax. The second apron is a hard cap. One of the worst decisions the NBA has ever made. And if you don't believe me, go ask Jalen Brunson, who's the current NBA Finals MVP, and go ask Victor Wembanyama how bad this deal was. They are all now going to have to be underpaid. That's the deal they signed, by the way. They all have to get underpaid so that guys like Austin Reeves can get paid. And that, to me, is stupid. That, to me, is a horrible decision on the players. The Players Association didn't do any good taking care of their top players. Just like the NIL. The NIL created an area where anyone and everyone can make money doing this, and as soon as they don't feel comfortable, they can transfer out. Oh, well, Joe, it's only fair. It's not. Well, you be careful what you wish for, because at this point, college is not about college anymore, and maybe it never was, but at least there was some rules that you had to follow to make it legitimate, in my view. Now, what is it? The guys that really brought in the money are few and far between. Now you're going to have to pay the third string left tackle at Iowa. You're going to have to deal with that guy doing shit. And that's what always bugs me. I go, I'm about talent. I'm about the elite getting paid because they're the ones that bring in the money. You look at LeBron James in Cleveland. The guy changed the economy there. He maybe didn't change the economy with the Lakers, but he changed it in Cleveland. And he got underpaid for 11 years. He was underpaid. He should have been paid $100 million at least when he was in Cleveland. His entire time there. His entire time. That means from when he got to the freaking game, to the pros. There you go. Little money info for the day.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell from the Joe Sorrell Experiment, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. I'm not sure if we're going to have a show later on tonight to go ahead and discuss the fallout of today's events. I'll try to see if we can do something late. I know that Legend wants to talk about it, and I know they'll try to meet up something with his schedule this week because I know he's on the East Coast, so it'll be going to have to do some time gymnastics with him on that as well. But again, if we can, we'll come on later tonight to go ahead and discuss the day's events and to see how they correlate for the team going forward. But I think you got a good idea of our thoughts for now, because the unknown is scary. So we don't know exactly what this ownership group will do now that it has on not only Mark Walters, CEO of the Guggenheim Group's shares, but the ones that he bought by himself, also as well the shares from the Bus family as well. And a era and a saga comes to an end, Joe. Again, I think the shocking words that they came together as a family to decide that, as much as the beginning and the end of that statement that the Bus family made to ESPN, I think was really, really telling. The fact that they all could come together on agreement on something and that they knew it was time to bail on out.
There was no choice. Whether it was through whether it was ethical or not, they knew they were going to get butchered. Why sit there and get butchered? Here, we're done. We're not working with some Kushner guy and Bob Iger. Come on. And it doesn't help that Magic Johnson has to get on the horn and yap about how great Bob Iger is. Bob Iger's not great, guys. He's a I'm not going to go into name calling here at this point, but come on, guys. Really? Bob Iger's going to run the Lakers? Really? Josh Kushner is going to run the Lakers? Do these guys know a single thing? Bob Iger's a Clipper fan.
Oh, he's a New York fan originally.
New York fan originally. Look, if you have more than one favorite team, I'm not going to take you seriously. With all due respect to Legend, I know that he has two teams, but I'm just not going to take you seriously in terms of your fandom. No. No, even that doesn't matter, really. I mean, Clipper fan, really? Because you couldn't see yourself to be a Laker fan because you were a Knicks fan, so you decided to be a Clipper fan? Just the little things sometimes tell you a lot about people. The amount of horse shit that comes out of people's mouths, no matter who they are. Just stupid. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting to see. Just waiting to see the vocabulary that's going to come out of these guys' mouths. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mark Walter. Appreciate it, by the way. This was nice.
Nice for him. He got $2.5 billion. Well,
no, I don't think he got $2.5 billion.
Well, whatever the valuation, whatever the valuation increase.
You know, the term "more money, more problems" is looks like a Mark Walter issue.
Wherever that's going to or being funneled to, obviously that's to be determined. But yes, whatever amount that he gets extra from the new valuation of the Lakers at $12.5 billion. I'm sure
We're all going to be complicit. Just so you know, as much as I can't stand Disney World or Disneyland, I have to hold my tongue because everyone else in my family loves that shit.
I love Disney World. Disney World's awesome. Disneyland's okay. Disney World's awesome.
I've never been to Disney World.
It's great. I love Orlando. Give me 2 weeks to Orlando to do all the stuff that you want to do there. Universal, Disney World, all the cool water ride places that they have there. Yeah, Orlando's a ton of fun. Yeah, that's just me saying that. There you go. Disneyland's all right. You've been doing Disneyland enough times. Yeah, there you go. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching this.
By the way, let me ask you a question since you brought up Disney and we eventually have to talk about Marvel. Let me ask you this. What do you think?
2 new Marvel rides going, by the way, up at Disney.
If it wasn't for all the success that you're talking about with Marvel, does it happen without Robert Downey Jr.?
Oh no, it's keyed in by Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Iron Man in 2008, if I remember correctly.
So, which by the way I still watch that movie.
It's a good movie.
I think it's great. No, I think the Avenger movies are good too, 100%. But
you're right. It's all headed up by him and his.
So I think a lot of that will, in the end, the players win the titles, right? I know the ownership and the executives play a role by setting the stage for these guys, but in the end, does Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf win without Michael Jordan? Does
But it's a
Popovich, and Popovich has admitted this too, finally,
Mhm.
do the San Antonio Spurs win without Tim Duncan? In the end, you need that transcending guy, and that's what Robert Downey Jr. was, to the point where would you say that Iron Man before the movie, I would even say he was a third tier guy of Marvel. Would you say that character? Not a
Yes.
second tier, a third tier,
No,
right?
it was a third tier. Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't read a lot of comic books, but I have a lot of friends who did, and I dabbed a little here and there, but I'm not going to act like I'm an expert.
Just
But
look at the movies that were made before Iron Man.
right, and I say, how talented is Robert Downey Jr. that he took a third tier superhero and he was essentially ahead of even Captain America.
Well, he was coming off some hard times. So Disney didn't want to go ahead and okay him as Iron Man because of all the personal issues and struggles
Well,
with addiction, jail time.
Yeah, true, but let's be real. I mean, come on. When they wanted Tom Cruise wanted creative control and $25 million. All they had to do was give it to Robert Downey Jr. for $500,000. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that's a better risk than giving Tom Cruise.
Oh, I know, especially for someone who had already was he Academy Award winner for Chaplin or nominated for Chaplin?
He was nominated. He never won. He had never won an Oscar until
Oppenheimer. Oh, okay. So
should have won it for Chaplin. I'm sorry, but if I think I'm pretty confident in saying this. If Heath Ledger had not died, he would have won for Tropic Thunder. That is one of the greatest roles I've ever seen.
Great performance, but I would still go with Heath Ledger. I'm sorry. That's one of the greatest movie villains of all time.
Yeah, it's sometimes that happens. Sometimes, in the 90s, you could say was the worst decade to win an Oscar because you had guys that were the fifth nominated guy that probably would have won it. It's similar to bodybuilding. The guys that were getting 8th and 9th in the 90s would probably win that in Olympia right now. It's so bad right now. So yeah, I can see it.
So with that said, it is Joe Sorrell Experiment, along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. If there's anything more we can add later tonight, we'll go ahead and do so. Let's look for that. If that does come about, we'll go ahead and do so. But if not, I think about an hour and a half is really laid down the law as far as what's gone on up until noon was seemingly a very quiet Monday for the NBA, but seemingly that all changed really quickly indeed with the news on Kawhi, and of course the news that the Buss family finally agreed on something. I didn't die beforehand.
Does this mean that Rob is going to resign here?
We will find out.
I think that's probably next.
Yeah, the end of the Ramby. Joe McCormack. Again, John McCormack, the VP of Finance, the longtime VP of Finance. I believe he is one of the ones that got the Kobe payment, as I would talk about. Remember the Kobe payment of $8 or $24 million. The Ramby, as far as is concerned, all the familiar figures behind the scenes in the front office, they may be seeing the writing on the wall as well, and so they may be looking for their graceful exit as well. We will wait and see. So we'll go ahead and make sure we report that on that for you. It is Joe Sorrell along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Again, for all your juicy tidbits when it comes to the secession, aka Lakers family drama, aka Lakers sale. No better place to go than right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.